On guys, welcome back to another episode of We Are Just Making It. I'm your host Amir,
co-host Ali,
and today we have kind of like a good friend. He's almost like a brother. I've seen him in the gym that we both train at. In passing, seen him at Collective is the gym, and then we also ran into each other at Lifetime. You had an experience running there.
I did.
And finally, I was like, "Yo, I want to know your story. I want to know your journey." And it turns out to be one of those ones that can resonate with a lot of people and inspire a lot of people. So I've got Demetrius. Claps.
Hey, there we go.
Goes wild.
Yeah.
All right, Demetrius. So basically, the way that we like to run the podcast is we want to talk a little bit about your life, the personal side, and then the business side, and figuring out, the overarching question of have you made it, define that, and just give people the opportunity to figure out if they're going the fitness route, if they're going the athlete route, what does that look like on a vulnerable level versus just being like, yeah, man, I've been selling programs since I was 18 and I drive a Ferrari.
Right.
So, I mean, first question that we always ask everyone, have you made it?
I feel like I have.
Oh.
I feel like, when you ask somebody, did they make it? I think it's more so about how many lives can you inspire and do people look at you and do they get the vision when they see you? You know what I mean? And I think people, when they see me, I think that they can see the vision of what I want for everybody else as well, if that makes any sense.
What is it that you want for everyone else?
I want everybody else to be on a self-improvement journey. Like, I think the more that you can self-improve, the better you are for everybody else.
Yeah. So what do you say to those people that are kind of like, I don't need self-improvement. Like, I'm every day I wake up, I'm the best version of myself. Get fucked.
That, I mean, I don't know, you can do that. I always tell people, man, you always got choices.
Yeah.
You can choose to do whatever you want to do, but you also got to live with that result. So, you can do that. But yeah.
Where did this journey start? I mean, to break it down, single father, athlete, man of many traits. You shoot. You're a police officer. Were you police or SWAT?
That was corrections tactical.
Tactical.
Yeah.
Tactical.
It was some intense.
So supersedes everything that I just said. But where did it all start? What was your childhood like? What ultimately shaped you into being such a individual who's focused on self-improvement, who is in peak shape even in his 50s. I mean,
he said it in his 50s.
Black don't crack.
34, but black doesn't crack. Yeah. But I would say, man, my dad, he was always the military. I'm a military brat. So my dad was in the Air Force. So I always grew up on a military base and just all types of, if you can think of discipline, like it wasn't no talking back in my household. So it was very structured. So I think a lot of that comes from the structure that I had, but he was always a guy like that would always say like, yo, you can do better than this. Like everything that I did, there's a better way of you can do this. So you can always get better. And so I think I've took that and took it into personal training and pretty much and even law enforcement. Even when I was in law enforcement, I always tried to do a little bit better than what I did the day before. And and just pretty much telling other people that same thing that they can do, you can do a little bit better too.
And even if it's not better, you can do it easier. There's just something that can be modified about it to make it quote unquote better.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Even yourself, like you might wake up and you might be making millions, but at the same time you can do it better.
More.
Right?
Yeah.
You could be making millions and have more time back, spending time with your family.
Facts.
So that's a dope mindset to kind of keep being raised as a military brat.
Right.
What was your childhood like? Was it bouncing around from place to place, or were you fortunate enough to be able to stay in one place long enough to establish yourself?
We moved a lot, but it was it was stable. I think it was stable, but when you move from, let's just say, country to country, you end up like, it's always like you gotta get mingled in there with the other kids, and that, you can get in fights when you do that.
Yeah.
Like you meet a whole group of different kids, like a bunch of personalities clash, like Yeah, it's like I fought all my best friends growing up, man. And
That's why they're your best friends.
Yeah, then they all became best friends. You know, that's how guys do.
Right,
We
yeah.
fight and then we'll make up afterwards. Like it's all good. But yeah, just moving from town to town. I would say we'd move every about 7 to 3 years.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
So
I know
not too
people who
bad.
are like 6 months.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. But you know, he would be gone 6 months at a time on like certain missions and stuff like that. So that was always interesting. It's always, you know, those military videos, you always see like the dad come home. You don't really get it until you're in a military family, because you're like, man, them dudes are gone for like years at a time. So they be gone 6 months to a year, and then they pop back up, and it's like, yo.
Did you ever have those like emotional moments, or for you was it more or less like, oh, dad pops back?
Yeah, because when, you know, I'd be like 5, you know, and he'd be like, yo, you the man of the house now. So, and I'd be, you know, he's gone for like 6 months, and he come back, and, you know, and like, bro, like I remember that vividly. So anytime I see those videos, they always hit home a little bit. And I'm almost getting there. I'm trying not to get there.
Yeah, you're good.
You know, but yeah, that's kind of been that was the childhood. So
do you think the person you are today, would you be a different person you are today if your father wasn't in the military?
Oh, for sure, bro.
Okay.
For sure. I think just the discipline aspect. I mean, when you grow up in a military household, every house is the same. So it's not like you see everybody's almost equal. Like, and you grow up with a very diverse group of people. Like, my neighbors were Asian, you know, the next door neighbors after that were white, you know, you got like everybody, you know, it's a very broader array of people that you're around. So you get to grow up around a lot of different cultures, which I find was really cool.
And to everyone that has served for our country, has family members that have served, we appreciate your service.
Shout out to the service members.
Shout out.
Yes. Let's go.
So I mean, you were talking about, you know, you got in fights as a kid. Were you the bigger kid that had to like bully other people, or were you like the small kid that hit a growth spurt and all of a sudden you were 6'4" and just 260?
Yeah, so that didn't happen till like after college, I'd say after high school.
Yeah.
After high school, like that's when I got kind of big, and I didn't really have that problem anymore. But like growing up, you know, it was just, man, I don't even know. It was like I probably had a bad attitude. I feel like I had a bad attitude. So it was like if the fight came to me, I wasn't like shy to it. I was just like, hey,
all right,
it is what it is.
This is the smoke you want.
Yeah,
You're gonna get it.
Yeah. And so now it's like, now I'm in a space. Now it's like I'm actually like learning martial arts. And like the more that you learn, it's kind of scary to know that people are like out here that could just really do some things to you.
End your life.
They could just, yeah. I mean, I went to wrestling practice the other day, and you know, I feel like I'm pretty. I
think I could take you in a wrestling match.
Hey, you got the base.
Yeah, I wrestled all throughout high school, and I was gonna go D2 for wrestling in college.
That'd be fun. We might have to
do that.
Yeah, we got to.
Am I about to watch y'all? Like, just move the table.
Yeah, I know, because I know you've been doing rugby, so I know you guys. Yeah, I know. I see. I pee people, man. I see your legs. I can tell
that it's the foundation.
You got a good foundation.
If I see a dude that's just absolutely stacked up top, and then I look at his legs, I'm like,
them legs.
I can take you.
Yeah, I got scoop them legs up under you.
I see you got a bubble butt.
Yeah,
nah, I'm good.
Or the quads.
If your quads are stuck to your pants, nah, I'm good.
Nah, it's sad.
You can talk your shit.
Or they start stretching before you're about to wrestle.
Oh,
like, no.
Yeah, the first day I went into wrestling practice, bro, and this wasn't too long ago. I mean, I remember my feet almost touched the ceiling. Like it was nuts. I was getting tossed around in there, and I'm like, okay, but give me about 3 months. Give me about 3 months, and I'm gonna be able to get it down. So it's been getting a lot better, but it's interesting. I always say martial arts is really interesting. You get to learn about yourself, you get to learn about other people, and you get to get humbled on the daily.
That's the thing, is like I feel like in today's society, the ability to be physical is lost amongst everyone. And so it's kind of like being in controlled environments like that, it almost allows you, one, to be a man again.
Facts.
But two, learn how to control what society views as toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Because it's the ones who are just like out of control who are the toxic ones.
Yeah.
And it's the ones who are training and doing all these things to better themselves that are, you know, the silent ones. And the silent ones are always the ones you gotta watch out.
You gotta watch them, bro. And it's like, you think about it, like the calmest ones, the ones that, you know, two violent dudes, you ever look at their conversation, it's very calm. Like, it's like, yeah, you know, how you doing, brother?
Right.
It ain't, there's no type of aggression whatsoever, because, you know, they both know, like, yo, if this goes down, one of us could die. Like, you know, like, so
real life.
Yeah, it's real life. So I always look at that, man. I always peep that, especially when I'm looking at like fighters or somebody that's there, you know, they're always having talks, or sometimes, you know, you could tell they're trying to put on a show, but you can also tell like when it's real.
Yeah, when there's
like,
real tension.
Yeah, and so that's always interesting to look at.
I mean, you're a single dad, correct?
Yeah.
Or raising your sons as a single man.
Yeah.
What have you kind of started to teach him? He's pursuing football. I saw him in the gym training with you. Like, have you taught him like, yo, if someone barks at you, you got to bark back? Or is it, again, that silent approach of like, hey, let them talk, but if they put their hands on you, end them.
So we've been having that talk a lot. He's gotten to about 2 fights, and
That's not
I'm
bad.
like, but I'm like, hey, bro, like,
Yeah.
I've taught you some things that you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You don't need to be.
He's a threat to another 12-year-old.
Yeah, like you can't be out here fighting regulars, bro. Like, that ain't even fair, you know. So yeah, we've been having talks, and I actually went and talked to his teachers the other day. That was interesting. Yeah.
What have his problems been?
Well, I guess his problems are not walking away. Like, you know, if there's a problem, you don't have to be there.
Yeah.
You can remove yourself. You don't have to be in the problem. Like, I feel like you're you're kind of the problem on this one. Like, you know, yeah. So, but, you know, I went and talked to his teachers, kind of smooth that over. That's always interesting.
Is he like someone who's standing up for others or standing up against someone, or is it more or less like someone will say something and he's just like, you're not going to do that?
Like, if it's more like if he's getting bullied, or if somebody's making fun of him, or, you know, he feels like there's disrespect.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna handle it. But I'm trying to get him to find different ways. I'm like, you can just talk to him. I'm like, brother, you can bring him one-on-one, man-to-man, and you can get off your grievance that you have with him. And most of the time, that's gonna end things.
But I feel like when you're at that age, like, it's almost impossible to just, because
It's like you have to.
Like,
Yeah.
I remember being all the way up until damn near 18, like when you actually get arrested in a ticket for fighting, that it was like you couldn't reason with someone by talking, and if you did, it was almost like, I punked you. Like, it was, you were all climbing the hierarchy of what it meant to be a male.
Facts.
And then it's like, once you become an adult, then it's like, how can I hurt you with words? Like, how much can I break you down to the point where you want to get physical, and then I've won?
Yeah.
So it's a tough bout for kids these days, because in a way, like, you got to be able to show that, like, I can handle my own.
Facts.
And you, back in the day, you earned a lot of respect. You earned a lot of clout. You earned status for the fact that you were able to take on the biggest guy or hold your own.
Especially if you won.
Bro, you were the
guy.
You were the guy. Nowadays, it's like,
he's a troublemaker.
you're a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really it, because also at the same time, like, society needs people who are going to step up in moments.
Facts.
Not every moment, but in moments, and we're kind of like compressing that or silencing it and being like, no, everyone should always use the words. And I'm like, there's a time and place. There's a time and place. Like, if a dude if you're just talking and I keep talking to you like this and you're just not getting it,
sometimes
he might just need like a little rattling. Not a lot, but a little bit.
You know, hey, I think Matt Barnes said it best. Violence isn't always an answer, but sometimes it is. Like, sometimes every now and then you got to give somebody some act right every now and then.
Absolutely.
You know? And it's sad to say, but, you know, that's kind of how it is. Like you said, you can only talk to somebody so much before they don't get it, dude. You know, but
and I've been in so many situations. I've been in situations with him where like I've tried talking to him and it doesn't go the way that he thinks it is going to go.
Here's the thing. Let me preface this.
Okay,
Let me preface this. I'm one of those people who does not raise their voice. I
Okay.
will calmly talk to you like this while you're boiling in a corner.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna get my ass beat, but I also know
going.
I'm gonna keep it going.
But he also
Yeah.
doesn't de-escalate. He's like, why are you getting mad?
Yeah.
Oh, are you frustrated? that I'm-"
Oh man, that's the worst. That's the worst. Yeah.
if you're mad, hit me.
And I'm like, and I'm the dude that's like, okay,
right.
like
He will hit you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I
so
would.
there's been times where like we were in college together, and we're grown adults,
Yeah.
and we have never gotten into a physical altercation because my mom was one of those parents that's like, you don't fight, but you especially don't fight your brother. And he came at me sideways because he was in my apartment and he wanted to hang out with my friends, and I was studying for a final, and I was like, yo. I'm studying and I like to watch TV for background noise. I had ADHD at the time, still have it, but like I needed two things going on that make me hyper focused. And he just walks in. I'm like, yo, what's up? Goes to my pantry, makes himself a bowl of cereal, comes and sit down. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like no big deal. And then he changes the channel. I'm like, hey, I need you to put the Vampire Diaries back on. Like that's my background noise.
Yeah.
He's like, well, why don't you go to your room and study? I'm like, the fuck? I pay the rent here, and he's like, I don't care. You can go to your room and study.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch TV. And I was like,
He was on demon time.
I was like, I'm gonna give you one last chance. Like, put my show back on, or you're leaving. He was like, your friends want me here. Your friends like me more than they like you. I'm not leaving. And I was like, you lost your damn mind.
Yeah, it's that time.
He was like,
Boy,
say less.
I manhandled this man out my house, kicking and screaming, literally kicking and screaming. I throw him out. He's a big dude, like, and he used to be a running back. So like, when he has downhill momentum, it's
a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
So I deadbolt my door. I'm like, got his bitch ass. He takes 3 steps back and takes his right shoulder into the door, into the frame of my door, splits the entire thing.
Damn.
Proceeds to walk off and call my mom and say that I just beat him up. I get in trouble.
100%.
And I've got a split door frame from this motherfucker.
That was funny though.
That was hilarious.
Like in hindsight, that was pretty funny.
That's wild.
But that was also how we realized we, as adults, can't live in the same city for an extended period of time together. Now we can.
Now we can.
Now we can. We went through the trials and tribulations of like verbally abusing each other and physically, so we're good.
Yeah.
But at that point, right after that, he was like, I fucking hate this town. I'm leaving.
Oh man. So how was it growing up with y'all two? Were y'all super close? Was it
No.
it just
No.
I always like to say, like we really didn't like each other growing up.
No.
He left for college when I was like, I kind of miss that dude.
Yeah.
And I see him and I'm like, you're not bad.
I think me leaving for college, like that was literally the spark for us to becoming actual brothers. But the thing is we are so close in age that everything we did was always a competition. The age gap wasn't big enough to the point where like we had different friend groups, we had different tendencies because we grew up in a different generation.
Yeah.
We were growing up in the same like gap with the same friends at the same school. We were only a year and a half apart.
man?
Yeah.
And school-wise, we were only 2 years apart. So as I was leaving junior high, he was getting into junior high.
Okay.
We did high school for 2 years together.
Man.
We were always on each other's tails, and so we were always competing. So that created this like sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
But it was honestly for no reason because we were in different lanes.
Yeah.
Like I was a wrestler. I liked running track. I was a culinary guy. He was football, social, business guy. Like completely different people. But we were like, you're my biggest competitor.
Yeah.
To this day, like I'm not threatened by many people. You, if I saw you in a dark alley, I'd walk the other way. Him, I'd maybe walk. Up. I could take you. I could take you. You know what I mean? But again, I always like to say like he was gone for a little bit of time, and I was just bored out of my mind.
You didn't have anyone to bother.
Who do I bother? Who do I mess with? And then he came back from college, and I was like, I like this dude.
Man.
This dude is cool.
That's what's up.
And it, I don't know, it kind of just blossomed from there. Like, to this day, like we still mess with each other, but it's all like good fun.
It's all love. And that's honestly like when we have kids, I hope that they kind of like have a similar relationship.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
Because it'd be cool for them to be friends while they're younger, but at the same time, like I feel like when your friend's younger, it creates for like a weird dynamic when you're older. Whereas if like there's a little bit of resentment, but like you're forced to be together.
Yeah.
When you're older, you're like, yo, we've been through some shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I got respect for you.
I got respect. Yeah.
100%. I know you have your son.
Right.
And then you also told me that you have another son as well.
So I don't have another son, but I train. So my son, he's got a younger brother. They're very close in age.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, me and his mom are really we're cool now. We're super cordial. You know, we went through some things in the beginning, but you know, I think that's everybody going through a split. But these past couple years, everything's been smooth and everything's been as good as it can go. So, but I get his brother, and his brother's a dog. Yeah, his brother's a dog. I love getting him too, because you know, we'll train. Like I'll take them, and I think that's probably been my best part as a father, is like taking them. And so we'll go, like for example, like I'll go do some gassers. And I just test them. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what they do. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna run 6. I'm gonna go run 6. So gassers, you know, that's a full sprint to the field there and back. You know, 50 yards there and 50 yards back. And now I'm like, y'all can run 3. I ran a 3. You know, and then Kylan's. So his name's Kylan. Taylon's my son. Kylan is his brother. So I run the laps, you know, I do the 3. They're both doing with me. Kylan, they're both dying tired. But Kylan gets up and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go run another one. Like,
there it goes.
I'm like, oh yeah, like
that's it.
I love it, because I'm like, Tay, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And Tay's like, you know what? I'm gonna run 2 more. You know, and so it's like now I'm like, okay, I'm finally getting that dog out of both of them. You know, but it takes his little brother coming. Because he's a runner. His dad was a sprinter. So he just,
man, they got athletic genetics.
They just got some crazy genetics. Like,
damn.
Yeah,
we got screwed, Ollie.
I wouldn't. Man, you can't say that. It's like they're still in there.
We just didn't get the height that would have made those really just like.
I tell all my friends, if I had a 6 in front of my height, I wouldn't know it.
Oh, I tell that every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I'm like, if I was 6 foot, if I was 5'11",
goddamn,
boy, you would know my name, but it wouldn't be.
I was saving on speed dial. Roger Goodell.
Yeah,
I'm in that.
I feel that. I mean, you know, it's nothing you can. You know, I always tell people it's nothing you can. You know, it ain't nothing you can do. You got to be. You got to be successful either way. You got to be as most competent either way.
There you go.
You know, you got to try to make as much money, whether, you know, 5'4", 6'4", 7'4", you know, so.
Hey, some of the richest dudes are actually really short.
Hey man, you got to be quick on the toes. You know? Yeah.
So what's it been like having your son and then raising his brother? Like, or being a part of raising his brother?
Man, it's been great, honestly. I think it's been something that's been pretty cool. I think it doesn't really get much better than that. I think it's a lot of wealth in what I'm able to do with both of them. Like a lot of, you know, the stuff that I'm able to do with them, like I'm able to run with them. You know, if they want to go work out, I can go work out with them. I'm like, yo, come with me to the park. Like I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
You know, so it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, okay, well, shit. I mean, he's doing it with me. I guess I'll do it too. So that's probably been the best, man. And just being able to almost just give them, impart knowledge on everything that I didn't know at their age. Like everything that I know at 34, I'm trying to give it to a 12-year-old. A 9-year-old, and trying to impart as much wisdom in them as much as I can, so that they're just ahead of the curve when they go through. I don't even think they know. Like, bro, y'all got it made. Y'all got it made. Yeah. Like, you know, like, but I don't think they can't grasp it yet. And then I think once they get a little bit older and they're like just kind of running laps around people, like they'll be like, okay.
So how old is Taylon?
Taylon is 11. 11. He just turned 11.
So in 11 years of parenting, what's one thing that you could change?
Ooh, so affection.
Affection?
As a dad, that's one of my, I would say, my downfalls. And I always tell him, I'm like, you know, I think I've done a better job. You know, I think we all do a better job than our parents, I think.
Yeah,
you know,
we try and be 1% better than the generation before.
You try to do a little bit better than the generation before. And I think, you know, the fact that we have so much access to information, like I feel like our emotional intelligence is a little bit better. So we're able to talk to the kids a little bit different. And I think for him, man, I think I could be more affectionate. I think I could be more affectionate as a dad, and more hugs and more, hey man, I love you, I mean, I tell him that, you know what I mean, but I don't think it's to the level he needs to hear it.
Yeah.
And I think I could do a better job of doing that.
I feel like society in general, when it comes to men and just the way that we build relationships, like in general, there genuinely needs to be like more affection towards one another. Like,
facts.
Honestly, just looking across and being like, I love you, man. Yeah. And not feeling uncomfortable about that because of what society deems that as, like,
man,
that's us.
Yeah. And like, there's a whole podcast that I love listening to. It's called We Are Man Enough podcast, and it's kind of the inspiration. It's part of the inspiration of We Are Just Making It. But the thing that they are trying to destigmatize is being man enough, and every version of just being a man is being man enough. Yeah. And so to hear you say that, and being a father and just saying, I wish I would be more affectionate towards my son. Right. That's crazy, because a tough dad, or a dad who believes that they're doing something, would be like, I would want him reading more, or like be harder on them. Yeah. But in reality, like, you're like, no, I actually want to nurture my child. That's awesome.
Well, you want him to feel, I want him to be confident, but I also want him to be self-sufficient. And I think that comes from having a good foundation of love. Like, I think if you show your kid love, they're going to grow up and be super confident. I think they're going to grow up and be, super giving, and be able to give that back to a bunch of other people. So I just think it's something that my dad wasn't really affectionate with me, but they came from, that's a different generation, but the same thing, I want that to everything that I do. I'm like, son, you got to be better than me. If you're not better than me, it's a waste of fatherhood, you know?
Pass the gauntlet.
Yeah, you gotta, I want you to do everything better than I've done it for you. So,
that's a really good want for your kid, because some people just want to be able to pass things off. Yeah. And you want to be able to pass him off, and then him make it better.
Right.
Do better.
Yeah.
Do better.
Yeah. Shout out
as a man raising two younger men, especially being a black man as well, are there certain things you're instilling in your kids early on right now to help them, be that 1% better than you?
Yeah. So I think more so how to talk to people. Like, I make sure that they, this is a trick that I use. Anytime I'm in front of a clerk, or I'm in a store, I just ask people, like, man, how's your day going, bro?
Oh, easy.
Oh, and
they drop their walls.
Bro, like, I've gotten so many free things or free food from just asking, hey, how's your day going? Look at somebody in the eye, and they're like, oh shit, like, somebody asked me how I'm doing. Like, oh my God, like,
it makes someone feel seen.
It makes people feel seen, and I'm like, yeah, you're not just a clerk, you're a human, like, So I think making them, I'm like, yo, it's your turn. I'll get both of them. I make sure they talk, like, look people in the eye, because that's one thing that I used to struggle with, bro. I used to struggle with, like, looking people in the eye. You probably can't tell now.
Yeah, no, like, direct eye. Yeah, piercing eye contact. Like, entire filming session. I look away. I keep looking at Ali just to freaking break it.
Yeah, but that was one of my. I think I had ADHD, and I had a big struggle. You know what I'm saying? I had a big struggle with that. Like, I wouldn't look people in the eye, but, like, when you got business. Yeah. And you go in there, well, let's do business, and I'm, and I can't really, like, and I'm not looking you in the eye. I'm like, hey, man, what's up with this dude? Yeah. But, like, you got something going on? Like, you can't trust me. So I try to, or I can't trust them. It's like, I'm trying to instill that into them so that they can talk to people. They're a little bit more social. They feel more comfortable in social settings. And then just more so, how to be personable. And how to communicate, I think a big part is being able to communicate. If you can communicate good, the world is, it's like that.
Life
it's easy.
Opens up.
Yeah.
I always like to say, like, you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't get your idea out,
facts,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Being able to communicate.
All right. Well, this concludes the first part of the We Are Just Making It podcast with Demetrius and Ali. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. All right, guys, welcome back to We Are Just Making It. I'm your host, Amir.
Co-host Ali.
And this is the part of the podcast where now we've gotten the opportunity to learn about you, learn what has shaped you and who you are. Now we want to learn how you're doing business and what ultimately is going to allow you to make it from a financial perspective. And this is the part where Ali kind of takes point.
So obviously you're a personal trainer.
Right on.
You wear a lot of different hats. What's one avenue, previously we spoke, you're in the process of rebranding. What is that like? How's that journey going? Break down what you're rebranding to, et cetera.
It's a great question because it takes, you really got to know what you feel comfortable doing as far as business wise, right? And as far as personal training, like I love training who wants to train with me, right? That's a big one. I want to know who's interested in staying consistent, who's interested in staying motivated. And I don't like to work with people that they're not locked in. They're not locked in. Like I can't, like I'm very goal oriented. Like if I'm training with you, I'm training with a person. I want to know that they've got goals. I want to know that they've got aspirations on really becoming better as a person, not just a athlete, a person, a businessman or businesswoman. I want to know I want to make sure that you're thriving on all levels. So as far as rebranding, that's been a good question. I'm still in the process of actually rebranding that now. I've been looking at ads. I've been looking at things on what to implement in my business to, I would say, make it thriving, make a thriving business,
What type of business is it that you want? Do you want something that's hard and edgy, or do you want something that's approachable and kind of like the self-improvement?
Yeah.
Like so you have the Goggins, like who's gonna carry the boats?
Yeah.
And then you have some people that are just like, hey, let's wake up and stretch and
yeah. So I would say I'm a little bit in between because that's not I'm not the Goggins. That's not my style. Like I get it, but I'm also like a realist. Like I like to question people. Like well, what do you plan on doing? Like where do you see yourself? Mm-hmm. I like to ask hard questions, and I always get that out of people. Like I could be talking to anybody, and I'm getting that. I will get those hard questions out of people. Like, and they're like, "Oh, I never really thought about where I want to be at," or and I'm just like, "Well, if you want that result, these are some of the things that you got to do." So I would say, like rebranding wise, I want to focus more so on self-improvement. I got a lot of males. If I looked at my analytics recently, and I have a lot of males that follow me. So I would say, it started off in the beginning, a bunch of females.
Yeah, because they loved what they saw, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
it's okay, you can say it.
Look, hey,
you got a kid. We all get it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say all that, but yeah, it started because I started off doing like glute camps. Yeah, I know.
My guy.
You know what I mean? Hey, building happiness with glutes. So, but yeah, like I started off doing that, and then it kind of, like I said, the speed video that went viral, and then I started doing other videos with mobility, and I think people like the way, like you said earlier about the, am I doing any like ad space? A lot of them are organic generated ads. Like all the ads were organic from reels and slides. So more so, yeah, I've been figuring that out, trying to find a space, because I do a lot, man. I do, one video I'm doing martial arts, and next video I'm
boxing, the next video you're doing firearm training,
yeah,
next video you're doing muscle ups.
Yeah, it was just trying to be as equipped as possible. But and I think when you do all these things, it does come with the level of confidence. And I think that's what I want to give people. Like I want to give people that confidence. Like when you walk in the building, you're not really worried about too much, because you feel you feel comfortable if this goes anywhere. You know what I mean? And that's something that you can't really take away.
That's a really good business model in terms of like offering something different than a traditional personal trainer is like, hey, if I'm working with a male or a female,
right,
like you are going to be able to control a space confidently and comfortably.
Right.
And a lot of trainers are just focused on, let's get your bench up. Let's make sure you can hit Stairmaster for 30 minutes. Let's focus on your macros. Whereas I know a lot of people who really don't give a shit. They just want to make sure that they can protect themselves and protect others around them.
Right. Like, and that's been a big one. A lot of my clients they've all won a box. Like everybody wants to box, like, or I've introduced like the MMA part to them, but they're like,
that's a little tough.
We're like, I don't want the kicks, like I just want the hands, like we just want to box. But I think it's a part of being able to, like, especially the ladies, all the ladies want to be able to box. Like I think it's something about being able to protect yourself. Yeah. Is a big one. And I think, you guys got it. Y'all, and that's probably where the confidence comes from with y'all. You got wrestling, you got football.
I mean, I don't even know actually what he would look like in a fight, but that's a topic for a different discussion.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good.
I honestly think I feel like you could be a pretty good actor.
No, I could. I'd probably hurt someone. I'd talk him off a cliff before I like hurt him. Yeah. And then when they see me stretching my legs out, hopefully that's like the second sign of like, you shouldn't do this.
And then if they get to that third
stage, I'm like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You thought we were throwing hands?
Throwing hands?
You're right.
Nah. 2024, Bubba. Nah. So it sounds like most of your traffic for that part of your business comes organically. I know you explored the ad space side. I know I didn't speak with him. I read this gym owner's memoir essentially, and he got a ton of leads. I'm talking thousands of leads from putting out a free ebook. And so he sold the training he gave the training away for free, but a lot of people couldn't do it on their own. So he sold them the implementation. So as far as your ads go, if you do go that route, I always recommend you want something called a MIFKI, which is a most incredible free gift, right? And what that is you give away the secrets for free, but you sell the implementation. So obviously you could give me a 6-week boot camp for free, 60 pages each day, a new workout meal plan.
Right.
I ain't gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
Like, hey Demetrius, how much for you to coach me through this? And then you have that conversation. You can charge whatever they want, because a lot of the times they'll implement it, they'll see results, but they plateau or they're just not consistent with it.
Right.
And then that's when you come in. So is creating an ebook something that you'd be open to?
I think so. I think right now I've been trying to create I want to create an online space to where like I feel like I'm there. I don't feel like I've created. So like, I've done some online programs and I didn't feel personally like I gave the client everything that they needed to thrive. And I ain't like that. I like earning my money. Like,
boy.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't like getting over on people. Like, I just feel like that, you throw that karma out there, it's going to come back to you.
100%.
You know what I mean? You get these fake programs and you sell these people, hey, well, I gave them this, and that's going to always come back. Like, somehow you're going to end up losing that money, or something's going to happen, your tire's going to go out. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of karma out there that if you do people wrong, it will come back to you. So, yeah, I'd be down. I'd be interested to learn. Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, last question here. We really appreciate you being here. If you had one thing to say, whether it's to the kids listening to an aspiring personal trainer who wants to start his business, to a single mom, single dad, whatever the case may be, what's one thing that you hope they take away from this conversation?
I think believing in their vision, like believing in the vision that you have for yourself. I think that each one of us in here, I feel like you have it, I have it. We all have a vision that we've seen ourselves in, like our highest self. And I think you going for that vision, I feel like that's the success part. Like, if you can go for that, or you're on the mission of going for that, you're successful.
Well, shoot, man. I appreciate you being in here today. I know you gotta jump straight to work after.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's been another episode of We Are Just Making It. I'm your host, Amir.
Co-host Ali.
And
And Demetrius.
Demetrius, where can people find you? Go ahead and drop socials or anything like that. I want to make sure.
You could find me on Instagram, athletic_aesthetics, and you can find me at Collective.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's been another episode, guys. We'll see you on the next one.